More information isn't helping you. And in today's episode of the Exercise is Health podcast, we're explaining why. We're going to cue our introduction and dive right into this conversation. Hey, welcome back everybody to the Exercise is Health podcast, brought to you by Muscle Activation Schaumburg. We're your hosts, Charlie.
And Julie.
And today we're discussing this idea that more information, in all likelihood, isn't helping you. Now, there are some groups of people who it does help, and you very well may fall into one of those categories. However, for the majority of people, more information actually isn't helpful. We're going to talk about why that is and what to think about instead. We want to let you know that if you want to start taking action on what we're talking about today, this is exactly what we can help you with at our studio, Muscle Activation Schaumburg, where we specialize in muscle activation techniques. So all you need to do to see our availability and get on our schedule is go to our website, www.matschaumburg.com, click the big green button that says Get Started, and you can schedule yourself for your initial MAT consultation and assessment. All right, so maybe you are guilty of this, or maybe you just know somebody who is guilty of this, but they always feel like they need more information either before they can act or before they can make a decision, or just because they see like collecting information as doing something. Oh, I need to get, this thing to get this data, and then once I get this data, then maybe I will feel comfortable taking action. But oh wait, no, now there's this thing that I can get this data, and with this data, maybe now I'll feel comfortable taking. And wait, no, there's this thing where I can get this data, and it's just like they think they need they need to be the collector of the data dots. And then with all the data dots, now all of a sudden they've collected them and they can feel like, oh, well, I've spent all this time collecting. That's doing something, right? Like that's going to get me to my goals. But the truth of the matter is that's actually not the case unless you fall into one of two different categories of people. That's what we're talking with you about today.
That's right. So the thing that prohibits people from getting healthier when they're gathering data is they spend so much energy on gathering data on their body, whether that's through, actually the idea of this podcast came up because Charlie and I just got one of those scales that like measures all the details of your body. Like, oh, you have 1 pound more muscle on your right arm than your left. And this is your body water content. This is your body fat mass. This is your, lean mass. Or sometimes it can be gathering data like reading tons of things about certain topics online. Or it might be, oh, I just need more information on my back, so I need to go get an image of my back or something. So it's gathering information. And so gathering information can be okay, but what we find often is that most people don't actually make better decisions about their health with more information that they're given. And they spend so much energy on this information gathering and not enough energy on taking action that it actually becomes like inhibitory of them taking action, right? And so the big thing when you're changing your health, what we almost talk about on every other podcast is like, how do you take action on getting stronger, feeling better, having more joint mobility, being freer in your body, all that great stuff. But so many people, buy the wristbands, buy the scales, go get the imaging, learn all these articles, and they spend so much time gathering information. But there are a few people that gathering information can help when you're progressing your fitness journey. Now, sometimes there are people that are actually already taking massive action for their health. They're already exercising. They're already getting MAT. They're already hydrating. They're already, they're doing the things that they think they should be doing for their health. And again, this is contrasting people that they're like, I should do all these things for my health. I'm not doing it, so I'll buy the scale. Like, no, the first thing you should do is start doing the things you should be doing, right? And so if you're already taking massive action with your health, then sometimes buying that scale to give you more information about your body so that you can make tweaks is really helpful. The more information doesn't help you take massive action. The massive action is the bulk of the stuff, is the bulk of what you need to be doing. The scale, the extra information, that little article that changed your mindset or changed your perspective on, how kneecaps work or something, those are going to be tweaks to the massive action. And so for some of the population, and maybe you are one of them, you are already taking massive action for your health. You are sleeping, you're prioritizing your sleep, you're using you're hydrating, you are exercising regularly, you're weight training very heavy, you are doing MAT, you have a routine around your cardio, you're eating, all that stuff. You are starting to dial that in. That's where more information sometimes can help. And so that would be a good time to like maybe check out a scale. And I think that has been fun for Charlie and I just this last week to start getting insight on that. And so that is where a little extra information can help.
Exactly. So a couple examples with this. So some of the coaches that I follow are in the vertical jump training space. Okay, and so they specialize in helping mostly guys, but some ladies as well, but mostly guys jump higher. Okay, and so they will talk about like on their podcast and in their social content and things like rate of force development, like how ground contact time, how much time this person's foot is on the ground during this part of their jump and everything like that. And so like there are a lot of young guys that consume their content, meaning like, they're like high school age or whatever. And, it's super fun, or it can be super fun for some people to like get like really nerdy about like the numbers and the joint angles and everything like that. And it's like, yeah, but dude, if your vertical is like 24 inches, which in the grand scheme of things is like really low, then maybe you just need to like just start getting stronger. Like if you're like not lifting and you're not jumping and you're not sprinting and you're not doing like the basic things and your vertical jump is really like, you don't really need to worry about your rate of force development or your ground contact time or how long your penultimate step is or anything like that. Like you just need to start doing the basic stuff. And then as you get closer to what may be your genetic potential, then it can be really useful dialing these things in. So for example, if there is somebody who is preparing for the NFL Combine, that has the potential to dramatically change their draft position and end up in resulting in a difference of like, very tangible amounts of money as far as like their initial contract is concerned, it can be really helpful to know that, oh yeah, like when you are running, your joint angles are here, but if we can change your joint angles to be here, now all of a sudden you're going to knock a little bit of time off and that's going to change your draft. Like, so getting dialed in as you progress and are getting closer to your, what is your current like potential, that can be really helpful. But when you're just first starting off, like you just gotta get started, right? It's like worrying about like, well, exactly how many steps I'm taking. Am I taking 3,000 or like 3,250? It's like it doesn't matter. It's like not enough. Like it doesn't matter whether it's 3,000 or 3,250. It's just not enough. So you just gotta get going and get doing more. And then you can start to dial in of like, okay, when I walk 8,000 steps, I feel pretty good. If I push to 9,000 steps, my body starts to feel weird. Okay, cool. Like now you can start to dial once you actually start getting in the ballpark of like what you need to be doing. Like, do I need to be, doing supersets when I work out? Or do I need to, like lift heavy and take longer breaks? It's like, you just need to get to the gym and get started. And then after a while, after you like actually build some strength and actually build some muscle, then you can start to like dial things in. But we get so caught up in the belief that, by gathering information, well, we are going to be better suited to then make the first step, which is going to be the right step then. And the truth of the matter is where you are at right now, likely any step is going to be the right step because it's doing something. All right. And then once you actually take a step and then another step and another step, then you can start to like course correct a little bit and start to, okay, yeah, like maybe I should start changing things up. And so then the other reason why like gathering a lot of data can actually be really helpful is it can start to bring different insights. Once you feel like you're like 80 to 85% of the way there, it can give you different insights and different perspectives, which then can allow you to tweak some different stuff that you're already doing and maybe just kind of add something new in altogether. And that can be completely helpful as far as like helping you unlock new levels of, your strength and your fitness and your health overall. But like if you don't even feel like you're like 80% dialed in, then don't worry about gathering all the data points. You just gotta do something.
That's right. And you know what is the truth of the matter is that there is no lack of information out there. Like most people are very educated about how to live a generally healthy life, right? And so if we start implementing those things, it's not the little tiny details that tweak us. Those are going to apply once we get to, again, you get 80 to 85% there. But so So here's what we want you to know is that when it comes to your health and you're starting to make changes in your health, make changes that is like you already know you should be doing that. Like for example, like if you wake up tired every single day, the first thing you shouldn't do is like, let me buy a sleep tracker. Let me make sure I'm tracking all my REM sleep and my blah 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 sleep. It's like, no, well first, do you have like a sleep routine? Okay, great. Do you sleep? What are the general knowledge about sleeping, right? Is it a dark room? Are you blocking out sounds? Are you going to bed, at some time before midnight, right? Like there are general concepts that everyone should apply, but we always think like, oh, it's the thing, I'm the unicorn and I need that specific detail. What it is once you, for example, if you set a sleep routine and you notice, wow, I really have this sleep routine dialed in, and some days I wake up pretty tired and some days I still wake up energized, and then maybe get the sleep tracker watch and then maybe start tracking some of your activities. And you're like, when I do, when I watch TV right before bed versus read a book right before bed, I sleep completely differently. That would be like a minor tweak after you have already made the bulk of the bigger changes, right? Of whatever it is you're working on in your health. So don't sprint to getting more information. It's not going to help you. We know the big bulk of stuff. We all know the big bulk of stuff we need to be doing. So start doing those actions first, because that's what's going to make the biggest changes. And then later down the line, when you have already gotten things rolling, then start adding in more information if you want that. You don't have to, but if you want that, to learn more about how to tweak your specific health journey, because you've now gathered more information about your own health.
Okay, now the other group of people that can significantly benefit from gathering more information are those rare people, and I say rare because in actuality, they are very rare. Most people think or a lot of people think they're like this, but in actuality, they're very rare. The rare people who, when they are presented with new information, they actually change their actions. Okay? And I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. That's really rare. Most of the time, we're presented with new information and we try our best to not change our actions and just hope that the information that we were presented with was actually false. But more times than not, so that's where most people live, is like, oh, I think I change under information, but when I get new information, really I just want the information to change and not my actions. Okay, every once in a while there's somebody who gets new information and they actually change their actions. And I'm thinking about this one person in particular, who's a podcast host. And I was hearing her say, like, I'm the type of person that, until I get it measured on me, I don't believe that, like, it actually exists. And so, for example, she was really struggling to lose weight. And every Monday was macaroni and cheese Monday. And, it was a big thing. She would always put, all right, I'm eating, this kind of macaroni and cheese. And then she went and got some food intolerance testing done and found out she was intolerant to gluten and intolerant to dairy. And so despite the fact that it's like hundreds of extra calories that she's eating, because of Macaroni Monday, she didn't believe that, like, that could be the thing until she got this new information of like, oh, well, I'm actually, like, my body is, highly inflamed because of this food that I'm eating. And so then she cut out Macaroni and Cheese Monday, and guess what? Like, she dropped some weight. But in that case, like, she was actually willing to take action on the new information that was presented to her. Most people would be like, oh, well, can't I, like, maybe just, like, eat a little bit less macaroni and cheese? Or, like, do I really have to cut that out? Like, I got this information, but do I really have to do something about it? So most people fall in that camp. She actually, kudos to her, like, changed her actions based on the information. And so she would be the type of person who, when presented with more information, may actually find benefit in it because she'll be willing to change the actions based off that info.
Charlie, you're totally right. And I think that's kind of the crutch of human condition, is like sometimes we gain new information, but it's not information that we're willing to take action on. And I think a lot of times that is what happens with a lot of gaining information about our health. It's like, oh, maybe sometimes it's like, oh, you're vitamin D deficient. You should take a vitamin D supplement. Many people just, as easy as that, they don't take their vitamin D supplement, right? And it's like, they're not willing to change given the new information. So if you are someone that is totally willing to change given the new information, then great, this might be something that is really motivating to you. It's like, I get data, I do more actions, and I get new data, and I do more actions, and oh, cool, like I'm, losing body fat, or, my right arm is getting the same amount as my left arm, or whatever it is. But that is very few where people actually gain information and they're like, nope, now I have the direction. I'm going to make massive action towards that change. More often than not, like the Macaroni Monday lady, it's more like, well, that is a social event. I don't want to ruin it for my whole family. What am I supposed to do? Just sit there and watch everyone else eat mac and cheese? Or, like all these excuses that come up. And so no matter what the reason is, it's like you're either willing to make change or you're not. And a lot of people are not willing to make change given new information. So then it just becomes just, more like a leisure fun activity to gain more information on your body by buying the fancy scale or getting the watch tracker or whatever. So anyways, so 2 reasons why more information would help you. Number 1, if your performance and your effort towards your health is already really high, you're already doing 85% of the work, and now you need the last pieces of information to dial it in and make it specific for you. And the second group are the people that really do actually take action when they gain new information about their body. And so this new information, this deeper insight into your health or whatever, actually helps you make change. And you're not someone that is like, oh, I'm kind of stuck in my ways, I don't want to make change, which is the most of us. And so if you fall in those categories, more information will help you. But a lot of times, just taking big action towards your health is what actually changes your health.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us, everybody. We always appreciate your time and attention every single week. If you are interested in working with us here at Muscle Activation Schaumburg, where we specialize in muscle activation techniques, all you need to do to see our availability and get on our schedule is go to our website, www.matschaumburg.com. Click the big green button that says Get Started, and you can schedule yourself for your initial MAT consultation and assessment. Wherever you consume our content, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, if you wouldn't mind leaving us a rating and review for this episode, it always means the world to us when you do. We're wishing you a fantastic week, and we'll talk with you all next week.
This podcast is for information purposes only. The statements and views on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Julie and Charlie Gates, disclaim responsibility for any possible adverse effects from the use of information contained herein. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests. This podcast does not make any representations or warranties about guest qualifications or credibility. This podcast may contain paid endorsements or advertisements for products or services. Individuals on this podcast may have a direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to herein. If you think you have a medical issue, consult a licensed physician.